From a super secret location deep within the mountains of Colorado, it's time to strap up, strap in, or strap on with your host, Shenanigans in One Shot. It's From the Ashes Radio!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to From the Ashes on About Face Media. So I've been playing with the settings for StreamYard. We have a new camera. It's not camera-ing for some reason. Thank you, Eric Reed, by the way. I'm not sure why it's not doing its thing correctly. And now we look like we're in a smoke-filled room. I'm not sure what the deal is with that thing.
I feel lit up.
Is that good?
I feel lit.
You are well. You are well lit.
I feel like I'm lit and you're in a comfortable like lighting.
Is that a good thing?
I don't know.
I'm not sure what that means.
You don't got a bucket of water with you, dude. Fucking weirdo. Oh man,
sure
how was your
that.
week? Let's start this stupid game out. How was your fucking week on Monday?
Without you, it was awful. You got a shiny new haircut.
I did a few days ago.
Yeah,
thanks for looking or noticing.
How could I not? I mean, look at you. I mean, come on now.
It's freaking hot out, bro.
Only outside. Nathan Hucker's there.
And inside.
Crystal Rodenbach's here.
Like real hot. And fucking, we have a beard, so man. Yeah, it's hot out. So man beard's gone.
Yeah.
Haircut.
Yeah, I get it.
Looking almost
Presentable and shit.
No, it doesn't look army stuff at all.
No. No, dude. But you're okay. Yeah.
maybe on operator days.
Yeah.
Not on.
Did you ever have modified grooming standards when you were in?
No.
No? My wife hated modified grooming standards. She's like, make sure that shit comes off before you walk out of the airport. Because she despised modified grooming standards. I look like a homeless man that lived under a bridge. It looks all patchy and shit. And shit growing in places it shouldn't.
Yeah, because I never grew a beard until like my mid-30s. So I didn't have a beard when I had one in the army. Oh, I know what you mean. I look like the homeless guy. No, I look like Hodge, bro. Yeah. I had like Hodge beard.
Yeah, same. Yeah. She hates it.
Yeah, it was friggin' terrible.
I trimmed it up a couple days ago and she was like, can we just stick with that?
When did your beard come in?
8th grade.
No. Like that. Because you're just saying you had Hodge beard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like it never really fills in right. Like mine didn't fill in right in my 20s. In my like mid-30s is when like all of a sudden like, oh, it grows better. Oh, it filled in.
No, we weren't allowed to trim ours at all. We weren't allowed to like groom it anyway. And so, yeah, mine just looked wow, that's a hell of a water. Did you hear that shit in your headphones?
Nope.
It sounded awesome.
Everybody else might have.
Yeah, they did. It was pretty awesome.
Not mine.
I don't even know who Michael Gruda is, but he's here. Welcome, Michael. Welcome. Glad to have you, man.
It's my dad.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
well, welcome to the
is.
show. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, we've met before. Nice to meet you again. That's kind of awesome. Yeah, it was a hell of a week. What about you, man?
Busy. Fun stuff, though.
I could see.
It was a pretty fun weekend.
Coming out to the super secret location, the road is lined with all kinds of like sunflowers and daisies and whatnot. It is
nothing to do with
beautiful coming out here. It's pretty awesome.
It is.
I like the way it's starting to cut. You can tell at the time of year that all that shit's coming together. It's kind of nice.
I like pretty rural ditches.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you go around like certain farms or certain ranches and they just have like random flowers like galore in their ditches. I think that's super cool.
Have you spent any time in Texas?
No, very little.
So Texas is covered in bluebonnets. I don't know what time of year. I think it's fall time of year. And there's like fucking massive rows of them. It's kind of amazing. Pretty cool looking.
I was on a seminar tour with our friend Steve one time, and we drove all the way down to Fort Bliss and then all the way back up. We drove all the way down to Fort Bliss, taught some seminars, had a great time, got shot at, spent the rest of the time in our hotel room, drove the fuck back home, and taught some more jiu-jitsu and had some more fun.
And that's just such a straight shot. It's such a boring ride because it is pretty boring ride. Straight. Right from, you just follow it all the way. You can drive right to Mexico from
that was a hell of a
Colorado
trip.
Springs. Yeah, it's pretty boring. Not fun on a motorcycle.
No, if you do like straight up, terrible.
But if you take a left, take Highway 54, and you can start like where all the aliens are and all the, you start going through like Roswell and where all the aliens and hippies and stuff are. It's pretty fun. Hey, assholes. Happy Monday. Well, hello. Welcome to the show, Dana Miller. It's always good to hear from you too.
Hi, Dana.
Yeah, thanks. Glad you're here. You're only here for Carl. Let's be up front. You're not really here for us.
Rob is being a jerk face and is refusing to tell me what Carl is today, and he's got it. Well, so when it's lame today, so give me your lame Carl. Oh, wait, you know what else?
Tell me.
I have a
What
car.
is this fucking book that Dana wrote?
You. Oh, man.
I'm going to listen while I work on a project for school related to lack of access to mental health care for veterans, as well as stress management. And Jesus, Dana, book 1, verse 1. Holy hell, that's a hell of a comment. So this should be perfect.
All right, there's somebody listening right now.
Okay.
And they sent me a killer Carl.
All right, well, let's have it.
Well, no, I don't know if it is.
It is about that time.
That's not it. No, it's your Carl. Go for it. I was going to send you a different one. This is not even show worthy because you got Carl.
All right. Well, I mean, hey, check it out. So I didn't send this to you. So
mine usually
we're here, Carl. So our combat Carl. So for those that don't know, Carl is someone in the military or post-military or whatnot who, basically sucks. So our Carl for the week, and if you go to your social media, should be pretty easy to find, is motherfucking me. I suck. So
this is why you wouldn't tell me. So
yeah. Look, folks, and he just sends it to me. Motherfucker, if that's a picture of me.
No, that was the one we're doing next week.
Okay.
We're going to stay on topic, sir.
So
you didn't want me to pre-write jokes. Like I take funny serious.
So check this out. So, first deployment to Iraq, 0304 with the 571st Medevac. Do our thing, burn pits, the whole bit, fucking dusting people off. Had a coworker who I worked with who the dude is just fucking awesome. I love this guy. He's legit one of my favorite people I ever flew with. And we lost, you just lose touch of the folks. And we talk about this constantly. You got to call the folks you deployed with, stay in touch with them and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
Homeboy sends me an Instagram message. Hey, haven't talked in a while. Saw you were in this place. I almost called you while you were there. I live there now, wanted to reach out, say hi, and I just never got around to doing it. So, but hey, just wanted to say hi. I'm like, oh, cool. Good to talk to you. We start shooting the breeze. Homeboy has cancer. I'm like, dude, let's talk. Let's set up a phone call. Reach out, start talking to each other, shooting the breeze a little. We're talking on the phone. Turns out, dude, this is going to, it's one of the presumptives that Allie fucking constantly beats us up about on the PACT Act. It's like one of the top ones. And I'm like, guy, this is what I do. This is how I spend my time. This is what I rant about. This is how this is my thing.
And we're not out there enough.
Exactly. I'm like, how have we not? And this gets worse. He has a great job, works he did all the right things, did his time in the military, punched his ticket, got out, used his GI Bill, got a better job, great insurance, gets this cancer. His insurance shoots him down. Sorry, you're not covered for that. Can you use your wife's insurance? Motherfucker, I ain't married. He did all the right stuff. But because he was okay when he got out in 0304, after Iraq, never did anything with the VA. No PTSD, nothing. So he's that care,
guy.
Never sought care through the VA.
Is he seeking care?
He is now.
Jesus.
So I have been working all day with him to get his VA claim filed because he's not working. He's not working because he obviously his job is like, hey, we can't have you. You can't be working right now. His insurance isn't covering this, so he's unemployed, not working. And no income, no nothing. And dude should be getting 100% disability.
Oh yeah. He's a hundo.
Yeah. You feeling
like
right?
The easy.
So imagine me who spends every Monday night for an hour fucking ranting and raving into this fucking electric box whose friend who he loves dearly calls him and says, and our fucking light just died again.
Fucking moonlighting. Shit got serious, bro.
When this show ends, I'm going to heave this bitch out the fucking window. Yeah.
Oh, it was that one.
It's that one.
What the fuck? That was weird. I thought this is the same thing that happened last week.
It is.
I thought it was mood lighting in my electrical because of the bunker situation with the generator. Loose wire sometimes vibrates. No, it's that damn thing. Okay.
It just blows my mind that
back on track.
We work this hard, and there are people that we care about that we're missing. And that are falling through the cracks. And holy shit, that shoot, dude, it sat so heavy on my chest. I couldn't believe it. I can't believe there's people we're missing that we give a shit about.
How many veterans do you know? Law enforcement,
all
fire.
Of them.
Yeah, thousands.
All of them.
Your normal civilian, how many do they know?
I don't know any normal civilians.
Okay. Your normal civilian, how many do they know?
Mm-hmm.
Not many. Maybe some more than others. Maybe some less than others. Maybe some not at all. Because we truly are a small percentage of
what are we
society.
Like? We are very.
In a certain way, it's almost made out like there's more of us, but there's really not. There's not. Okay. There's a whole hell of a lot less of us that went downrange and did shit.
Yeah.
And have serious fucking problems.
True.
Because you don't go downrange and come back and not have problems.
Agree.
It's the environment. So what we need to remember is that we're not just listening for our individual selves, for our individual program. We're networking within our community to make sure that we know what's going on so we can help ourselves, and we know when we need it, because today is not the same as tomorrow. Today's not the same as 3 weeks from now. Those of us that may be healthy today maybe aren't a month from now.
Truth.
So we need to tell our friends. We need to tell our friends to have their friends listen. Sounds like MLM, but seriously, like we have a lack of information out there. Like even when somebody asks me, I'm like, okay, you got to give me some time to start working on it.
Yeah.
Every time somebody reaches out, unless you're about to start a 45, it's going to take a minute.
Yeah.
If you're about to start a 45, we can 5150 it pretty quick. Right? That sounds terrible, but if that's what you need, cool. If you're about to start at 45 and you need a brother to come take that away and hang out with you for a while, we got that too. If you need like emergency things are there, but the in between sucks that it's so hard to navigate through, and we work in it all the time.
And so most of our people.
Individuals end up like that. So I think we ourselves need to start like not thinking we're an army of one when we're out. Right?
Truth. Absolute truth. But I mean, it's just so frustrating. You and I work so hard at this. And
we need more people to listen. And it's not just for you. It's not just for you to listen. It's because one of your brothers is going to call you and you're going to know what to do because you heard about all these different things. You heard about the PACT Act. You had it explained to you.
He's talking to you, listener.
When people had individual questions about the PACT Act and listened and sent in the show live, and we live fixed it for you, we didn't just fix it for you. We fixed it for everybody else listening and all their friends that they bump into. So that's where I get into like the I am in no way in a position to tell any veteran what they're to do when they get out. In my feelings, in my opinion, we have a duty to our society to be a certain type of person within our community and represent the name veteran well.
I agree completely.
Not all of us do. And those of us that don't should, this is where I go back to the old boy system, should be guided by the leadership around them to help bring them up and to rise to the potential they have.
No doubt. No doubt. I could not agree with you more.
Holy
and there are
it is
people doing
615.
that shit.
Dude, you have
what?
Do you know what one saggy tit said to the other saggy boob?
What?
Man, we gotta start getting support around here, otherwise people are gonna start thinking we're saggy nuts.
Speaking of saggy nuts,
dude, we can't be that serious for like Man.
Sagging nuts, man.
Carl, it's always good to have you on the show. What's up, my brother?
Pleasure to be here. Can you hear me all right?
You sound like the voice of an angel. What's up, man?
Awesome. Is that going to be my new call sign, Sagging Nuts?
Sounds like you need your own show.
Exactly. Good to be here.
What's up, man? How you been?
I'm good. Life is good. I can't complain.
I like that we have returning listeners like Dana Miller just because you're here.
Hey, Dana.
How you been?
I'm good. Yeah, life's really good. I can't complain. So
look at the setup. Got the mic going on, the guitars in the background. You are looking all pro and stuff.
Yeah, this is why my GPA sucked so bad in high school and college. Somehow I pulled the nose up before I hit the water, but that's all good. So, but I'm back to the psychedelics now, so it kind of came full circle.
Yeah, look at that's outstanding. Doc, for those of us that did not get to hear you the first time you were on the show, why don't you give a little bit of your background, tell the world about like your military service, tell us how you got started.
Yeah, sounds good. So, so my name's Carl Bonnett, for those of you who don't know me, and ER doc by training. I did emergency medicine for 20-some years, trained over at Denver Health. I was in the Army National Guard, started out enlisted, then got commissioned and got to give up my Humvee and my rifle and I'll start doing paperwork instead of fun stuff. But then got deployed a few times with the Guard, got to go spend some time in Iraq and Afghanistan. And in 2015, I started this company called Klarisana, which is a ketamine-based behavioral health company. We got clinics in Texas, in Colorado, San Antonio, Austin, and 3 clinics here in the Denver area. And largely that came out of the veteran suicide rate. So I used to work for the Denver VA, and I was working there one night, just got really pissed off about a particular patient I saw, not because of the patient, but just, this Marine who'd gone through some horrible stuff and just got really frustrated with the way we were treating PTSD. And then the nurse I was working with, a buddy of mine named Rob Conrad, who's a former Ranger, gave me the paper that the Army published in 2008 on burn service members. The ones who got ketamine ended up having a lot less PTSD than those who got the traditional therapies. So that's when I got the bright idea that, hey, this ketamine thing could work. So I moved out to San Antonio and opened the first clinic down there. And so I've been doing it ever since. So that's
quite successfully, I might add.
Oh, thank you.
Quite successfully. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't, I have been to Klarisana and I cannot say enough good things about what ketamine therapy will do for you. If you are dealing with PTSD, if you are in Colorado, if you are in Texas, your insurance will cover it. Doc Bonnett's staff will work with your insurance and will help you to get what you need. Highly recommend that you stop in and get what you're looking for.
Yeah, thank you. And just to be clear, insurance will cover part of it. They won't cover the entire thing. We were still working on that, but I just don't want to get anyone's hopes too high. But we are trying. Insurance
You're doing
is
great stuff.
Not easy to deal with. So, but here we are. So,
and this is not like, hey, if you're looking to just go, hey, take a ketamine trip, this is not what you're looking for. This is not what that is. This, if you're looking to get help for your PTSD, your anxiety, your depression, that's what Klarisana does. And I don't mean to steal your spiel, Doc. I apologize. I'm just a huge advocate.
No, I mean, if you want, if you want just ketamine to get high, then one of the online mail order companies would probably be your best bet, because then you can just do it in the comfort of your own home and do whatever else. But yeah, we do a pretty thorough screening process. Meet with our behavioral health professionals, et cetera, et cetera. So this is not a place to just call us up and say, hey, I want to stop by and get a quick shot of ketamine. It's a bit of a process to get approved and cleared to get treatment with at Klarisana. So.
But one of the reasons we wanted to have you back on the show, Doc, just recently, the Department of Veterans Affairs shot down MDMA treatment for PTSD and for veterans. And I know you're passionate about this. You're very educated on this. This is all up your alley. Can you talk us through a little bit about this and what the deal is?
Yeah, it's people might be a little bit surprised, because I think what you're probably referring to is the recent FDA advisory panel that met. MAPS, which is run by Rick Doblin, the organization that Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, did all these studies to try to prove that MDMA, which is ecstasy, which is the street name for it, could be useful for PTSD. And then we had that they had that committee meeting where the committee voted against it. That does not mean that it's not FDA approved. The FDA still has a chance. They're going to be meeting in August to make the final determination on that. Most of the time, excuse me, most of the time they do go along with the recommendations of the advisory committee, but sometimes they don't. So every once in a while it doesn't. But so they brought up a few concerns, some of which we can go into here in a moment, but I don't want to burn up too much time on that. But long story short, they decided not to recommend it for FDA approval. Now, there's a few. I don't know how much of a rabbit hole you want me to go down on this, but the bottom line is, I'm actually really fired up about this whole thing, right? I mean, yeah, it's a loss, but like the idea that we're going to get psychedelic treatments, mind-altering treatments into mainstream medicine is challenging, right? I knew that from the get-go. Like when I started the company in 2015, I was down in San Antonio. In retrospect, I have no idea why I decided to start a psychedelic medicine company in San Antonio, Texas. I mean, the amount of negative reinforcement I got from other clinicians, other psychiatrists would never refer to me. They said I was crazy. This is, absolutely off the charts. I asked a bunch of other ER docs if they'd invest. They said, no way, man, you're going to lose your license. This is because at that time, everybody knew that there is no benefit to leveraging a non-ordinary state of consciousness, right? Nancy Reagan made this very, very clear. You cannot do drugs. The ads that show the eggs in the frying pan or whatever made it very clear. So everybody knew that you can't, that anything that alters the mind is bad, except for alcohol, right? That's not regulated. It's regulated, but it's not. we allow that. And in the military, of course, it was, at least at the time that I was in, which I think you were in, it was not only approved of, but encouraged. But nonetheless, so there's this enormous hurdle that has to be overcome in this country, where you got to get rid of the BS, all the baggage that comes along with the term psychedelic, right? All we're doing is leveraging a non-ordinary state of consciousness, right? The Marine who I took care of that started this whole process, his whole issue was his best friend from high school. They had their first beer together, they grew up together, all this kind of stuff. They joined the Marine Corps together. They went to Fallujah together. They're on patrol. My patient had his buddy in front of him, took an RPG through his chest. All his body parts and body armor and stuff hit my patient on the ground, knocked him down. That's why he's screwed up, right? So what I would argue is that is a psychedelic experience. That is a non-ordinary state of consciousness. So if you just simplify this whole thing, it's kind of like, an object in motion stays in motion until an equal and opposite force acts against it, right? So this is your brain, right? You get hit with this psychedelic experience. You watch your best friend blow up. We just need to come in from the other way and do something to get you going in the right direction. So my point, to bring it back to the tree, is that was crazy in 2015, right? It's now at the point where the MAPS conference in Denver last year had 11,000 people attend, right? I mean, Governor Polis spoke and gave the keynote address, which we expect, right? He's the Democrat, more progressive. He's in favor of psychedelics. But Governor Rick Perry from Texas spoke. And again, I'm a political atheist. I don't give a shit about that. So I'm not going to argue with anybody about politics. I think they actually both work for the same team. But anyway, so you got Polis who speaks in favor of psychedelics. Governor Rick Perry speaks in favor of psychedelics, right? And says this should not be a political issue. Our veterans are killing themselves, et cetera, et cetera. It's just a treatment that needs to be put out there. So I'm actually fired up, man. I mean, the enthusiasm that's happening for this is off the charts. And then if I want to play devil's advocate for a moment, there's two things. One, there were a few legitimate concerns, because the FDA committee can't get wrapped up in hysteria. They can't allow themselves to do that. And Rick Doblin, bless his heart, he's a great guy. I admire what he did. He is an amazing showman. I mean, he is a real marketer. He knows how to rev people up. So I think everybody thought for sure it's going to be approved. They were just like gung-ho. And, there were some concerns, right? Now, my bigger concern is, remember, what started this was that paper that Rob Conrad showed me back in 2008. The Department of Defense knew that there was an amazing change in veterans' PTSD symptoms with ketamine back in 2008. Why didn't this become a national initiative, right? Why can we talk about, Rick, changing, no internal combustion engines in the state of California by the year, or whatever. Why can we do all these other things? Why can we send $95 billion to Ukraine? And why didn't the U.S. government jump on this research from day one? For the price of one Tomahawk missile, they could have done a kick-ass study looking at this. So we criticize the FDA. We criticize that committee, right? That committee is under a lot of pressure, sitting there having to make this decision. What I'd be saying is like, man, you're criticizing the second lieutenant, right? The freaking 06 is the one who got the bright idea to put that unit in this place where something bad could happen or whatever. And you're just like, hey, why do you do this? Well, you put me in a shitty spot, right? I mean, this is the kind of thing where, and again, this has gone through several administrations. So I don't give a damn if you have a D or an R after your name. There's several people who had the chance.
Plenty of blame to go around.
Yeah, because I think the fact is there's a lot of like just lip service that gets placed on veterans. You mentioned earlier, like after what is the percentage of Americans who serve in the military? Like 1% or something. I think you guys talked about that a little bit ago. So unfortunately, it's sexy to say, oh, I like veterans and whatever. But the problem is most people actually don't give a darn, right? This should have been a national.
And we're very few people.
Right.
They care about the mass, and we don't fit into the masses.
Right. All the concerns that the FDA panel brought up could be taken care of in a large study that can be funded by the U.S. government, right? We have the capability of putting a brigade of 82nd Airborne somewhere in 72 hours or something. Like if we decided to fund this and study it, we could. So I'm not saying this to be a Debbie Downer. It's a bit, because on the whole, MAPS has done some great work. Rick is a showman, right? I mean, you gotta be honest, but and he got people sort of revved up, worked up, and I don't think it's over, right? I mean, this stuff is going to push forward, but yeah, it's a little frustrating. But again, I'm more frustrated that like, why isn't the government doing something about this? Why isn't the Department of Veterans Affairs doing something about it? But I don't know.
That's because people like you were on the forefront of it, Doc, and you were the one pushing forward. What were some of those concerns that they identified? Are these like little curbs that we can get over, or are these are big things that they're identifying?
Well, there's a few things. I mean, one is they're concerned about the placebo group, right? And I made kind of a tongue-in-cheek video about this on my Instagram channel where they're saying, well, the placebo group can't be blinded to know they're not getting MDMA in that case. And of course, again, the video I made was like, if you're trying to prove that standing on the Atlantic Ocean or watching the sunset is good for depression, if their placebo group is like in some park in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, they kind of know they're not. I mean,
no offense, Iowa.
Right. I lived in Iowa for 12 years and went to high school and undergrad.
Sorry, Doc.
The more you think about that analogy, the more you appreciate it.
I know.
It's fucking great.
I could pick on Iowa a little bit, but the thing is, it's hard to blind the placebo group. It's like you're just like, if you're not like traveling around Neptune, you're kind of like, well, I must be in the placebo group. So that's one problem. There was also some interesting issues about the with the placebo group, like the treatment group had two therapists, working with the patients for hours, up to 8 hours and whatever. And just like, so the question was, well, are they getting better just because you sit there with therapists working with you and holding your hand for all these hours? Again, most of us believe that the medication actually did do something, but again, their job is to prove that happened. So that's one of the concerns. There were a few ethical issues. There were some problems with some boundary violations and whatnot with some of the therapists, and so there was some concern on the FDA's part about that wasn't appropriately addressed and whatnot. So the bottom line is, I think it will be overcome, right? It's just, okay, it didn't work on round one. And but it can be done. Now the other thing too to keep in mind is, again, bless his heart, Rick Doblin loves MDMA. He created the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, but basically it's all about MDMA. I mean, yeah, he's just, at the conference he had some people talking about psilocybin or whatever, but to their, I guess, criticism or whatever, maybe they should fund some studies looking at psilocybin versus MDMA, ketamine versus MDMA. Because is it truly superior to other treatments out there? I don't know. No, we don't really know the answer to that, but it eventually will get answered. So I'm not crying on my beer. I think there's some good things happening on the psychedelic front.
Very cool.
Cool.
And I like your optimism. That makes me happy. So very cool to
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah,
Very cool to
it's a huge paradigm change, to get people to get this idea of using psychedelics. And then two, again, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but like, when you look at like the healthcare industry, you look at mental health treatment, the antidepressant market, the last time I looked up, was about $6 billion. So a lot of money is currently changing hands for the current way that we treat veterans, the current way that we treat civilians, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to come in there and say, hey, I got something that's going to completely change that, I'm going to divert the Colorado River. Yeah, California, you were expecting to get all this water, but you know what? I got a bright idea. I'm going to divert that bad boy over to New Mexico. Well, there's got to be people who don't take kindly to that. And again, I'm not trying to beat up on Big Pharma or anything, but hey, human nature.
Well, the problem is we've gotten to a place where we've allowed big farm, big this, big that to have such a financial influence on our politics. It's changing the way that our healthcare is.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's huge.
Like, powerful, but that I would imagine that would be like the biggest hurdle in the world, right there. I mean, it has been historically. If you think about even as simple as like having medical marijuana.
Yeah.
Look who was behind money fighting that crap.
Mm.
Oh, exactly. I mean, you pick anything, right? If you just came up with some disruptive technology that completely changes the way that we get groceries. Right. And you just said, I'm going to waltz in and say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it approved. And all of a sudden, the entire system for how we buy groceries gets changed overnight. Well, there probably could be some interests who are not happy about that. And it's not going to be, and like bringing it back to pharmaceuticals, if you look at the political contributions, I mean, big pharma companies make big contributions to both sides. So again, we could do a whole hour show about this. Like, I believe the politicians.
That's why I said big farm's allowed to influence our politics too much. I didn't say influence one side.
Yeah.
No, there's too many big groups that are allowed to, and what sucks is it creates speed bumps in healthcare and all sorts of other facets of life too. But I mean, I'm one of the ones that's like always really giving the stink eye when it's this stuff. Okay. And I am, but I'm open-minded enough to listen and see what's been happening on both sides. But it's hard to get past all that stuff when and hear more when money is pushing you away from it.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know we're running short, but the last thing I'll say is that what really gives me hope is that psychedelics do not decrease the desire to take your life. They change your entire paradigm, so it's not on the table, right? So like I've had so many patients who are like, I don't know why I wanted to take my life. I don't remember who that person was. That's why I have people record an autobiographical video. I say, take your phone, make a video of yourself describing, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I want to do, this is why I want to take my life, this is my plan, blah, blah, blah. And I'll have them watch it after they're done getting ketamine treatments. And they're like, holy crap, I don't know who that person was. So as those stories get out, and as more and more people get to the point where it's like, wow, my sister talked about nothing but suicide for 70 years. Now she can't remember why. This is going to change, man. This is going to change. But, pharma, whatever entity is trying to slow us down is not going to succeed, because I mean the success is self-evident.
Every once in a while, I stumble across that video that you told me to make before I did my first treatment with Klarisana, and I trip over it, and it's about a minute and 30 seconds long, and I trip over it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. Huh? No kidding. That's good stuff. Doc, what does the future look like for Klarisana?
Future's looking good. It's we're going to be expanding. We're going to be opening our next clinic. We'll be opening this fall. So location will be announced later, but it will be in Colorado. And then we're hoping to expand in Texas next year with at least one more clinic. So that's looking good. We are bringing on psychiatric nurse practitioners. So we're offering medication management now. So that's exciting. So we're trying to be much more comprehensive as far as the services we offer, and not just ketamine. So we have therapy, ketamine-assisted psychotherapy, and then we're going to have psychiatric nurse practitioners doing medication management, and also working with our treatment failures. So anyone who maybe doesn't do as well as we'd hope, we'll assign them to one of our psych nurse practitioners to, start doing some more genetic testing and whatnot to see if there's something we're missing, or if maybe they just do need some other antidepressant in addition. Dana, you need to hurry up and graduate so you can work for us.
Doc, I've been watching you save lives for years, and the fact that you're continuing to save lives just in a different realm warms my heart to absolutely no end. Please keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great things for our favorite population, so please continue to do it. Doc, I'm going to pass you off to my hetero life mate here. He's going to give you the outgoing instructions, and he's going to handle all the exit stuff.
I don't know if I have to give him instructions. He's been here before.
Yeah, he knows it all.
You got 2 minutes. It's your time to shine. Whatever we didn't cover, you want to cover. You got about 2 minutes to throw that in there. Make sure you plug your swag and.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. I mean, I think a lot of it kind of said, right? This is the thing that people need to fundamentally understand is that what psychedelics do, strip away the name, strip away the 1960s, all the BS that comes along with that. And just remember that this is fundamentally different. We're changing your mental paradigm, changing the way you see things, making you understand that this thing that you're looking at is not a threat. And that's what's just so rock and roll about this. I say that it's like, if I put you in a room with a radio and I tune it to a station that you hate, if I just give you antidepressants, all we do is turn down the volume. If I put you in a room, if I give you psychedelics, that's like putting you in a room with the radio and changing it to a different station. So this is great stuff. As far as getting a hold of us, Klarisana.com, Klarisana. It's a mouthful. And if you want to follow me personally, I got my my own Instagram channel at Doc Bonnett, 2 N's, 2 T's _psychedelics. So that's where I get to have a little bit more fun and explore some other topics of personal development and whatnot. So thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Folks, if you have not checked out Klarisana and not checked out Doc Bonnett, you're absolutely doing yourself a disservice. I highly recommend it. Doc, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy Monday night to come on to talk about this. Really appreciate it. Let's talk again in August after this hopefully passes and the VA and the FDA gives it a big thumbs up and we're doing good things for veterans. Doc, thanks a lot for coming on the show.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks so much. Have a great night.
Have a great rest of your evening.
Take care.
Bye.
I've heard a lot of different pitches and read a lot of stuff on psychedelics and treatment. That was the first time it clicked to. I was like, oh, maybe that does make sense why it would work.
I
know you're a big proponent for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I'm not on board.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying I haven't decided if I'm staying on the shore or I'm getting on board yet.
No, I understand.
I've heard some great things.
Mm-hmm. I understand. So I ever tell you why I got wrapped up in this?
I think so, kind of.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Bit. So when he and I were working in the ER together, and when I was just getting out of the Army, and they're like, "Hey, I was on the phone with, what was it, whatever it was, mental health," and they're like, "Hey, we're going to put you in immersion therapy." And Doc was like, "Hey, let's have a conversation." Like, okay, what's up? It's like, "Don't do this." And I'm like, because he knew my whole story, he knew all the stuff that's gone on in Iraq, and he's like, "Don't do this." He's like, "It's immersion therapy is tough." I'm like, okay. He's like, "Let's talk about something else." Told me that he's building Klarisana, getting the party started, just getting started with it. And it really helped a lot.
That's cool.
Help. Yeah. Does good stuff.
I
understand.
I had that word brought up for myself also.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple birdies on my shoulder were like, "Hey bro, why don't you steer away from that for now, at least? Why don't you look into something else that might not quite be anything besides that?"
It might be the same birdie that we're talking about.
No, I heard it. I heard it from multiple birdies. And it freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, same. I get you. Yeah.
You know what doesn't freak me out?
Mm.
I was a teenager in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
MDMA.
Okay.
Those two things don't. I mean, I was a teenager in the 90s, bro. MDMA, it doesn't freak me out. Immersion therapy freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? When you really get over the hump where you're like, cheese and rice. When I was 18, now whatever.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what could go wrong? But I'm looking at some of the other things, and that's why I've gotten to have or had to open my mind on things that I was like, I cringe a little. I'm like, what?
Yeah, you're gonna
We're
repeat the traumatic event until you become numb to it.
This, but then
no, I'm not. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah, even my wife was like, I'm not sure I want you doing that.
No.
You know? And then you find out that, like, hey, how many of my friends have done this and had success with it? Not a single one. And you're like, man, I don't know about that. And then you start thinking, like, why is the VA doing this?
Then you realize it's in the VA.
Yeah, and there it is.
Did you notice that we have a third host?
We do?
Like right here.
Not so much here, but right
Here.
It's
It's like God has joined us.
Well, yeah. Well,
I just noticed like it used to light up me, but now it's like a third person.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, God is clearly smiling upon our show, I guess. I don't know. I put that. So StreamYard has a new
We
thing.
are only here for the holiest of information.
That's right. Well, StreamYard has this new thing where I can click on it and it said enhance our image on the camera. So I clicked on it.
Why did it only work on me?
JP's in the green room and he's laughing at that shit. Man, fuck you, dude. Let me bring him in. What are you laughing about, dude?
JP, this asshole wouldn't
freaking great,
tell
man.
me what our bits were tonight because he knows I like to write jokes ahead of time. Bitch, I got jokes on the fly.
Apparently, you don't even
What
need
up,
prep
JP?
time because you nailed that.
What's
going on,
Coach? How you
guys?
living, man? How's your day?
Freaking best day ever, my man. Best day ever.
Oh yeah.
Are you a retired law enforcement officer yet, or you got a little bit of time
Not
left?
yet. I have 118 days left.
But who's counting?
Yeah.
Proud of you, man. Very proud of you.
Thank you.
Calling
Appreciate that.
sick on the 118th.
Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna take the last week off, maybe even month. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I'm taking the entire month of September off, so maybe technically less days than that if you're really counting working days.
So you've earned it, man. So well, good on you.
Appreciate that.
That's awesome. And look at you, off to bigger, brighter things.
I'm excited. I'm freaking pumped for it.
About to write the book of JP. Hang on here. Hang on a second. We got comments. Oh, I love this. Tell us about who is Savannah Munding.
Savannah is one of my clients. We just
finished. Look at her. Man, you got a cheering section that shows up with you. I love this.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I just finished a coaching call with them, and I told them I was hopping on here, so I sent them out the link, and I had a feeling Savannah would definitely show up. Savannah's
Look at
amazing.
you.
She's doing great.
I like that you roll heavy and you bring the crew with you. That's good stuff, Coach.
Oh yeah.
So tell us, obviously it's been a month since we've had a chance to talk to you. What has gone on in the month of Vet Rise and Coach JP?
Well, I am grinding. I'm gonna share a little bit of what's going on while also sharing a lesson. Is that cool?
Of course.
Cool. So I have spent a lot of time in situations that are always surrounded by chaos, as I'm sure you guys have also, right? Like being in the military, you're used to just things happening around you. It almost feels abnormal, taking leave, going home, and you're just trying to feel out of place. And I left the military and went almost right into law enforcement. So I'm very used to just chaos. And I took a lot of pride in knowing that I could handle it. In fact, I enjoyed it so much that I created my own chaos in my life, going through multiple divorces, drinking, weight gain, weight loss, just a lot of turmoil that I created for myself. I've come to find out recently that I didn't have any boundaries before. I didn't really have any boundaries, not just for other people, but for myself. I didn't have any rules for myself because I always wanted to be on the go. I wanted to grind because my mentality was like, if I am working on something, if I'm working late into the night, if I'm stressed out about this, it means that I'm doing something, I'm progressing. And I've realized a lot in the past 3 months, a lot more in the last month, is that life doesn't work that way. You can't really progress if you are constantly grinding yourself down. You have to have R&R. You have to have a team. You have to have contingencies. You have to have systems. So over the past 3 months, but specifically the last month, I brought on someone onto the team who had already been on the team, but he was working part-time. And I made him the full-time operations manager. He's a cousin of mine. And I said, listen, how much money is your other job paying you? He told me. I'm like, all right, done. You got it. I'm covering it. And I want you to move right by me. So him and his wife actually moved 10 minutes down the street. And I gave ownership over the day-to-day operations to him. It was so hard to do, but I knew it was needed because I kept just putting out fires. I kept sending him stuff here and there, and he would address the things that were happening, but he could never really dive into day-to-day operations. And as this happened, I started having less on my plate, which means less stress, which should mean that I can take time for myself, time with my kids, time for my life. But I kept realizing that I wasn't used to this. And I think as veterans, as you know, people that are always surrounded by something always happening, we feel like when we're not in that world, something's wrong. And it's not. It's not. Like it's okay to take a day off. It's okay to put your phone on do not disturb. It's okay to not have emergencies happening left and right. And I think personally for me, I think that the reason why I enjoyed that type of lifestyle is because I received value from being able to show up when those emergencies happened. I felt a lot of purpose behind me being able to handle emergencies, situations, putting out fires, staying up till 3 a.m, editing videos and posting them and then getting big reactions from people. Like I felt like that was the value. But it's about quality, not quantity. So like now that I get to sometimes take days off of my business, not worry about the day-to-day operations. Like I don't have to do 15 things every day the way I used to in my business. Like Samuel Hernandez, shout out to him. Happy anniversary to him and his wife, by the way. They did an anniversary dinner and I wanted to pay for their dinner because of all the amazing things they've been doing for me. So shout out to Samuel. And he's been running the day-to-day. And because of that, like now I can spend time with my kids. I can take days off, and I'm learning to set boundaries. I'm learning that because I'm doing this, my stress levels are coming down. And the days I show up, I'm not burned out. I can give a lot more. I can show up with like real quality. I used to think that I had this skill of like just winging it and figuring it out on the fly. But like that served a purpose when I was in the military. You have to learn to just be operationally adjustable. But as you get out, like you learn that there are skills that you can take. And I mean, being adaptable definitely helps being here in society. But we also have to understand that like you don't have to work on a presentation for 4 days and then stay up late at night and then go present it to your boss. And then you don't feel like he gives you the accolades that you want when you can just spend maybe some dedicated hours on it, come back to it later on and then do a much better job. So that's what's been going on with me the past month. I'm learning to take the step back and then showing up with intensity and energy and focusing on working on the business instead of just in the business. And Julie is also one of my clients, and so is Allison. I saw Allison, and yes, I was able to trust myself in my decisions. And that's been a huge part of it. So yeah, that's it for me.
Well, I have 2 questions to go with that. So
Yeah,
my first question is, one, the first point you made was talking about progress. And I'm going to guess that, you know, with what you do with Vet Rise and whatnot, I'm guessing that progress looks different for different people. I'm guessing that for some people that might mean a marathon. For some people that might mean, hey, I managed to get through a whole book. I don't know. I'm guessing progress is different for different people is my first thought. And my second thought is, when we were young and enlisted in the military and we were living in that chaos and you know, paramedics, firefighters, cops, you're dealing with that chaos constantly. You become slightly addicted to it and whatnot. Not slightly. You manage that chaos, but you build a level of experience where you start to recognize that those fires that you're putting out for others aren't really fires. They're manageable. And so you pull up to these events in your fire truck, your ambulance, your police car, your Humvee, whatever it may be, and where everyone else is panicked, and you start to realize, hey, let's ratchet things down significantly and manage this. This is not chaos. Once you take control of that, help me out just a little bit here, Coach. Am I off base on what we're talking about here?
You're absolutely right. I think that I talked about this today on my coaching call, but not everything is an emergency. Not every message needs to be replied to. We give a lot of value to people, and then they get used to like the way that you react to a certain situation. So like when something happens, if they know that you are the one that responds a certain way, they feel like they're going to go to you for a certain situation. Not only do you take away like ownership of them handling the situation, whatever emergency it is. But like you are taking ownership over something that isn't yours to take ownership over. Now, as far as like showing up to situations like that, I think that a lot of it has to do with dopamine and getting value from that and understanding that like you have the experience to handle it probably a lot better than other people do, but that doesn't mean that you're the only one that can handle it. And for the longest, especially in my job in law enforcement, I felt like I'm the one that has to do it. I have to stay late. I have to write the search warrant. When there's other people on the team that are not only just as good, maybe even better at certain things that I thought that I was the best at, just because of that ego, that arrogance, that sense of dopamine and pride. And you have to like separate those things and figure out, where is the emotion coming from? What feelings am I actually having? And I think that's a way deeper of a conversation, of a dive. But yes, absolutely, everybody's progress is different. Yes.
Well, I watch him as a business owner, and this dude, his phone rings nonstop, and it's always somebody else's problem that he's fixing. I don't mean to speak for you. I apologize, One Shot.
No, I love how you went right to business, because I was going to say one of the things that I took out of that right away was my business coach, which has changed a lot of the ways I do everything. That working on it, not just in it, is something I used to struggle with a lot, and I do it a lot differently than I used to.
Same here, man. That's actually exactly where I learned it from as well. My business coach.
Yeah. Like I swear to God, you know what? I got a sales call from a new software marketing company the other day. And he's like, "You got a minute?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he started in like all the like, "Well, are you doing this?" "Yes, I am." "Are you doing that?" "Yes, I am." And then finally we get to like question 10. I was like, "Can you stop for a minute?" He's like, "Yeah. Like, I've ran a few software systems and I have a business coach." And he stopped right there and he's like, "I got nothing for you, bro." like that was it. He was like, "If you look at my company, if you like my software, but if you have a business coach, I'm not trying to fucking steer this guy." Because like everything he was talking about, I had information on, and I was either working on it, had conquered it, it was on the list, it was like, and like direction, all these different things. Like, no matter how good you are, even if you're a business coach, have a business coach for you. You gotta have somebody on the outside helping look in for you. Man, that looking or working on, not just in, is so huge.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing from both of you, who are both professionals at what you do, is all of our listeners right now, if you're looking to run a marathon, start going back to the gym, build a business, get yourself a coach, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah.
Fuck both
yeah.
said yes at the same time.
Get a fucking coach, jackasses. Oh yeah. Don't get a free one, and don't have your buddy do it.
No.
Neither one of them are good.
And if I can add to that,
qualified.
Yes, absolutely. And if I can add to that, like, stop looking for the free shit. Just like One Shot said, like, you're going to pay attention to what you pay for. And when you ask your buddy or somebody that you know to give you some free advice or give you a discount, like, you are devaluing what they can possibly give you. I will pay more for someone to give me dedicated time than just free information on the internet that I don't know how to implement. The implementation is the biggest thing that you're learning, because they've been there, they've done that, they understand what works and what doesn't, what you're going to waste your time on and what you don't need to waste your time on. So yeah, 1,000%.
I ran a 5K within 6 months of being with Vet Rise, and 35 and going back to gymnastics.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
See, I've been watching the Olympics. I feel like I can do some of that shit.
You know that listener, that one we never really know who is?
Yeah. The Roden something or other? Yeah.
Rodenberg Stromovich or something.
Yeah.
35, back to gymnastics. That sounds like right up her alley.
She's got that name. So, I mean, yeah, probably. Yeah.
Man.
Whatever.
Yeah, Savannah's been doing some amazing
That's
stuff.
badass.
Say again, Coach. What'd you say?
Yeah, Savannah's been doing some amazing stuff in the program. So I
Really?
love having her in the academy. Yeah.
Good stuff. I love everything I'm hearing. Say I want to meet her.
Of course you do.
We're pretty sure it's a fake customer. We don't believe it that she's not Samantha, this Rodenbaugh chick.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's a whole nother thing. What do you call it? Coach, what else we got? What's coming up for the rest of the month? What do you got for our listeners for the coming month?
This month, work has definitely been more demanding for me as far as like the law enforcement side of the house. So I'm grateful to being able to trust my systems, my team, and like autopilot, right? Because if I can add one more thing that I think will be of value, is that we have to appreciate everything that we have time to do when we can do it, and set up your system, set up everything, set up your rules. So that way, when shit does hit the fan, when you get really busy, everything kind of goes on autopilot. And it's not about surviving. It's not about just getting by. It's about that you're just in a coast pattern. You're just kind of floating for a little bit until you can ramp it up again. So like for the month, we're kind of coasting, we're floating, we're doing great. We're not just surviving. We don't do that. But when we can ramp it up, eventually we will be able to ramp it up with no issues.
So your cheering section, who I love and adore, is talking about signing up with VetRise. Coach, how can folks sign up with VetRise?
Yeah, so they can find me on all social media platforms. I also have the podcast, the VetRise Podcast, and every single one of my social media platforms is JP the Veteran Coach. And the first link, the only link you'll see on all my platforms is the application to join the VetRise Academy. If you do decide to click the link, fill it out, give me all the information, choose the time that you'll actually show up, because I value my time just as much as I value yours. And you will have a chance to talk to me. We will go over a plan. We will figure out if this is something that's good for you. And if it is, then we will get you a spot in the program and get you freaking started.
Love it.
Before we cut you loose, Coach, we end every show with the safety brief. What do you got for the safety brief for this week, Coach?
The safety brief that I have for this week is that every single second counts. If right now in your life you keep noticing that you have clutter all over your house and your room is a mess and your car is full of trash, like just remember those 2 minutes of you deciding to put stuff away before the end of the night, before the weekend's over, that 2 minutes to go and throw the trash away in the car. It helps declutter your life. It helps you actually save yourself from worrying, from having a mess in your life. So like, just think about that. If you can take an extra 2 minutes at night, 5 minutes even, to put everything away, to set up your gym bag for tomorrow, it's going to prevent you from the next day feeling like you're stressed out, you're running late, none of your stuff is ready, and therefore then you miss the gym. So like, every second counts, every single moment matters. Take the time to declutter your life, your room, your place. And before you know it, those piles of trash that we so often have, that we complain about, that are our doing, they won't even be around anymore, because you start to build the baseline of what you do, the way that you operate. And that can change your life in so many ways.
What do you got?
I was thinking about something. I'll be serious, no jokes. You know, one of the greatest parts about being in the military is they don't give you the option to be stupid sometimes. They just tell you what to do, where to be there, when you should be there, what you should be wearing. Remember, dress accordingly. You know, sometimes long sleeves covering you from the sun, smart even when it's hot. Sometimes we need sunscreen. Like, think a little bit. Just because you don't got Sergeant Dickhole over there, you don't want you to be in fucking uniform, doesn't mean you shouldn't be in uniform. Okay, take care of yourselves. You're adults now. You were before too, but you didn't act like it.
Exactly. Hey, watch out for your four-legged friends, folks. Some of that pavement is real hot right now. So if you take your dog for a walk, keep them off the pavement, walk them in later in the day or earlier in the day. Do not walk your dog at high noon on the hot pavement. You're going to injure them. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to our Never Forgotten segment. We end every show with Never Forgotten. So this is from 2019. Let's see here. The Department of Defense has identified the 2 soldiers who died Monday in Uzgan province in Afghanistan from moves reported from incurred during an insider attack. PFC Jay Keisher, 20, of Stryker, Ohio, and Specialist Michael Isaiah Nance, 24, of Chicago, were killed during a combat-related incident in Tarin Kowat, according to a Pentagon release. The area is roughly 100 miles north of Kandahar. The troops were members of Company B, 1st Battalion, 505 Parachute Infantry Regiment, 3rd Brigade Combat Team, 82nd Airborne, based out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you are putting your hands together tonight and you are dropping to your knees and you're saying your prayers, remember those 2 paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne, the 505, and keep them in your prayers tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to make room for PTSD to pageants with Kendra. Thank you for joining From the Ashes on About Face Media. Coach JP, thanks for being a part of the team tonight. Really appreciate having you. And ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your evening and a great rest of your week.